Hi guys, Vitali here. In the previous lesson, Ethan explained to you how you could generate good ideas for software products, the products that would be demanded on the marketplace. So ideally, you are already talking to potential customers and brainstorming one or more software ideas. And the more people you approach discussing your ideas, the better. Or maybe you came to us with one specific idea that you know would work and you are just ready to build it now. In whatever position you are, before moving to the next step, we want to be sure your software idea is technically feasible. Also, we want to know that it's not too challenging for programmers to build, right? We don't want to spend years building something which is not doable, and we don't want to spend a fortune on it at the end, right? So in this lesson, I will show you what essential criteria we've got to filter our ideas from the technical perspective. So what exactly we are going to cover in this lesson? I will tell you why we need to do this technical filtration for every software idea you come up with. Then we'll go over 5 filtration criteria framework and learn how it works. There I will also show you homework worksheet. Then I will explain to you a few guidelines on how to further adjust your software idea based on that worksheet results with 5 technical criteria. And finally, you will have your homework assigned at the end of this lesson. Note, this lesson is required for every software idea, be it a software tool path or a new income stream path. Now, I have an essential note here before we move any further in this lesson. First of all, don't worry, we are not going to turn you into a programmer during this lesson, obviously not. We don't expect you to do technical filtration and a final decision about your software idea on your own. Our first goal with this lesson is to give you a high-level understanding of how programmers do their job. You will know how they evaluate software ideas, whether they are feasible or not. This basic understanding would help you with your software journey. It will help you avoid a lot of expensive mistakes. Our second goal with this lesson is to let you do your own quick research with whatever expertise you've got already. And then share with us your domain knowledge about your idea. We want you to dump all the business domain knowledge and whatever technical challenges you might already know about your idea. The more we have on our hands, the better we do technical oversight later during our masterclass. So we don't want you to make a final decision on the technical feasibility of your software idea. We will do this for you. We will dedicate a few days researching all the technical aspects, and if needed, we will even do programming experiments, which we call spikes, to prove that our assumptions are true or false. All these steps would remove unnecessary risks during development. Also, we don't just tell you this idea is bad, pick another one. No, we will help you adjust your existing idea and make it a bit better from the technical perspective. So, we don't expect you to fill all the bits in your homework into this lesson. Just do whatever you're capable of, and everything else we will do it for you later in the project roadmap module. Okay? So, why do we need this technical filtration step? First of all, we don't want to spend our time and our money trying to build software which is almost impossible to finish because of technical limitations. This filtration, together with detailed technical oversight step, would help us avoid such a situation. Also, we want to avoid so-called all-in-one software products. Let's say if you want to get 2 existing popular software products, put them together and sell it as a new offer on the market, then I need to tell you that this is a bad idea in most cases. If you can't isolate 1 to 3 features that will solve real customer problems, then probably you don't know yet what you are building and why. And in this case, you need to keep talking to your potential customers. Just blindly cloning other products and trying to sell it usually does not work. Every new product, every new business is unique and requires its own unique journey, experiments, and whole adventure before it becomes a success. So this lesson will help us focus on a few main functions within our software idea. If this is the first time you're going to build your software, then you want to keep it simple. Simple enough to build and launch the MSP version within 6 or ideally even 3 months, and spend anything between $20,000 and $50,000 on it. You want to release and start making revenue within months, not years. And you don't want to spend $100,000 building initial version. You want to grow your software business by reinvesting from revenue, not from your own pocket for years, right? So technical filtration step will allow us to better understand how we can simplify our idea and at the same time still sell it. Finally, we need to find a balance between super simple software and something that cannot be too easily stolen by your competitors, right? All this we will cover in this lesson. Okay, this is our technical filtration framework. We have 5 criteria to evaluate our software idea. These are top 1 to 3 features, software platforms, external dependencies, challenging features, and doable in iterations. Now, let's consider each of these criteria in more details. As we already explained to you in software mindset lesson, it's a bad idea to get existing popular software business, clone it and try to sell it. So trying to clone Facebook or Amazon.com or Uber mobile application, well, all their existing features will make you spend years and millions of dollars. In most cases, this is a bad idea and it does not work, especially if this is your first software product. Instead, check what is missing in their functionality, what can be improved, what people are complaining about, what narrow niche of customers is handled badly with existing software, and try to solve this single problem better than other competitors. It's better to have one great feature that will solve a painful problem for your users instead of having a lot of just nice to have features, right? Having 100 features might be okay if you are building internal software tool like ERP or CRM, so you know what exactly you need. It's your own tool for your own purpose. One of our previous clients sent us a 10 pages of scope document where each row described one feature that took us anything between 1 and 4 weeks to develop. Do you imagine how much work it was? One row, 1 to 4 weeks of development for one full-time developer. In that case, with that project, it was fine. This project was about business optimization software for existing hotel. We spent about 2 years with a team of 4 people developing it, and project price went a bit over $500,000. But you don't want to end up with 100 big and significant features. If you are on new income stream path, you want to focus on just few core features that will solve painful user problems, right? We want to release our software ideally within 3 months, not within 3 years. So, the first criterion that makes any good software startup idea is the focus, which in turn means finding those 1, 2, maximum 3 features that will make your product sellable. The more big features you need, the harder it will be to develop. You might ask, Vitaly, when you say a big feature, what do you mean? Okay, big feature is usually a feature that could be built by the one programmer within a few weeks, anything between 1 and 4 weeks. So having 3 significant features within your initial scope would end up at 3 months of work for one full-time developer. This is exactly what we are looking for. Note, you don't need to include standard software functions like logging, sign up, payment, billing, settings pages, etc. So these things are common for any paid software and usually take just a few hours to build it. You don't need to include it. So in our homework sheet, I will ask you to think about a couple of main features that will cover your idea. Surely you might need more than 1 or 3 features. No problems at this point, just add them all. Just make sure you add only those you believe are a must for the initial version, and please do not add anything that isn't just nice to have. We'll also help you with this step during our project roadmap module. On this lesson page, you will find a link to the worksheet which you will need to fill as your homework. I will tell you more about this at the end of this lesson. Also, on this lesson page, you will find 2 examples of this worksheet for 2 existing software products, which is Dropbox and Uber. I'm pretty sure you know what it is, right? Dropbox is paid online file storage service, and Uber is a taxi driver marketplace in the format of a mobile application. On this slide, on the left side, I have a screenshot of top features for Dropbox, and on the right side, we have top features for Uber. So let's go over it as an example so that you can better understand what I mean under one big feature within our MSP version scope. As you remember from software mindset lesson, with software we need to think in iterations. The more core features you can and need to build for initial version, the harder it would be to release. The more time and the more money and more risks you will need to handle. So instead of this, let's focus on MSP version only, and let's try to think what features we need for MSP version. And in this table, you will need to list only MSP features. Anything that we can release later, please do not put it here. So for Dropbox, we ideally have the next functions. I listed 4 pretty essential features for the initial version. We need to upload files to the cloud and synchronize them between different devices of our users, right? Also, it would be great to let our users see what's on the cloud via so-called online cabinet. This feature I named here Preview Files Online. In the elementary form, it consists of files listing and probably with a single file details page. It might be file contents preview or just display some file data with a button to download this file locally. So then we need team management. I think this would be a must to sell Dropbox to teams and companies. And finally, file synchronization will be incomplete without sharing feature. Dropbox allows sharing files with other users by permission or just by providing a link to anonymous users. And for Uber, we would like to build these next functions to start getting money from our users. We need driver profile so that customers can see car details, obviously. To book a taxi, user needs to see a map with cars in that area. Then we need an option to book a car. Software will do a match for us, calculate the price, and then show price projections to the driver and customer side. We need 2 cabinets here, one for the driver and another one for the customer. Uber software has a lot of underlying components as well. Route builder to calculate and draw an optimal trip route. Then we have the price calculation, which is based on time of the day, city, route distance, and many more factors. Also, it would be great to secure our software with some driver ratings and reviews, so it will help our customers order only reliable rides, right? Finally, we also need some payment integration, which in this case will be commission based, and also we need dispute management when any of the sides don't agree with the final numbers. This happens a lot in this kind of software, this kind of business domain. Okay, this is it for the initial version of Uber product. As a homework, after this lesson, you will have to fill in the same table with the main features for your software idea. Second technical filtration criterion is software platform. On this step, we need to identify which platforms to support with our product so that we can sell it effectively. Each different platform requires a different programming language, different type of developer, and a dedicated time and money. So ideally, our software idea, at least for the MSP version, requires no more than 2 or preferably 1 platform so that we can build it and start selling it sooner. Now, let me explain to you a bit what platforms do we have when it comes to software. Some of you might be more tech savvy, so that all this information on this slide won't be new to you. But for others, there might be a lot of new terms here. And in that case, it's not my goal to teach you everything about these platforms and how it works. I would instead want to provide you with a kind of overview so that you know the difference. And when working on home assignment, if you still are not sure about a specific list of platforms for your software idea, don't worry, we'll step in during the project roadmap module and help you out with this, okay? So, these days we have 2 approaches when creating new software. It can be web-based software or native software. Let's start from web-based software. Any website, online forum, Gmail, Amazon.com, anything that you can access with your web browser is a web-based software. You are probably using one of these web browsers like Chrome, Firefox, Safari, Internet Explorer, Edge, or Android browser. With any of them, you can access web-based software. And you can access it from your desktop computer, notebook, tablet, smartphone, from any device basically, just by using a web browser, installing web browser on that device and using that website, web-based software from your browser. So with web-based software, you build it once and then you can use it on multiple platforms and devices. It's the same server handling all your incoming user requests. It's the same code base serving all your users coming from different devices and platforms. Also, we have so-called responsive design approach, which makes any web-based software look great and be usable on any screen size. Whenever you access your software from the smaller screen, like with your smartphone, it will adapt and display a page in a bit of different layout. With some little tweaks, developers can make the same web page look a bit different and adapt to different screen sizes. Web-based software does not require any user installments. It runs on a single server you install in the cloud and handles all user requests coming from different devices via web browsers. Whenever you release a new update, you update it on that single server in the cloud, and your users get all these updates immediately. Now, what about native software? Native software is a bit trickier in development. There are a lot of different devices like desktop, mobile, tablet, game console, and many more. Also, we have different operating systems like Linux, Macintosh OS, Windows, Android on smartphones, and many more. In most cases, whenever possible, I would recommend you to stick with a web-based software. A web-based software is easier to develop and easier to support. But in some specific cases, web-based software might not work due to technical or device limitations, or just because your idea is 100% about, let's say, mobile application like Uber, right? So you cannot build Uber like web application, website. In that case, I recommend you to evaluate whether your idea can be implemented as a hybrid mobile application instead of a native one. In that case, you will spend less time and money on MSP launch. If your idea works and starts making some revenue, then you can consider switching to a native application from hybrid application. Again, you want the native application only if you need better speed performance or some new functions not possible to build with a hybrid approach, okay? And if you are not sure which platform or approach would work for your specific idea, we are here to help. We will review your software and recommend the best platform in the project roadmap module of our masterclass. So you don't need to become a software expert on that deep level to understand whether this or another idea needs a native mobile application or maybe hybrid mobile application. You don't need that, okay? So the logic here is the next. Ideally, we want to start with web-based software. It's the easiest to build and support. But if you really need a mobile application, let's say, then we need to evaluate the next thing, whether a hybrid approach would work for us. A hybrid application is a bit easier and cheaper to build than a native mobile application. So you turn to native device application only as a last resort. Okay, in your home assignment, I will ask you to think what would be the format of your software to make it sellable. Do we need to build it as web application, or it should be a mobile-only application? If mobile, then do we need iPhone and Android platforms? Or we can only start from the iPhone, for example? Or maybe we need both web-based application like website with online user cabinet, and then we also need a mobile application with a set of quick features. Or maybe we even need separate applications for tablet or even some desktop utilities. So I will ask you to dump all your ideas in our worksheet. Again, skip any blocks if you are not sure what would be the best for your specific idea. We will help you with this a bit later during our masterclass. Now, on this slide, I have for you two examples, Dropbox on the left side and Uber on the right side. For Dropbox, if you remember, we need online user cabinet to preview files in the cloud. For this, we will need web-based software which would look great on desktop, mobile and tablet. We might skip adaptation for tablet screens, but if that is not too much work for the developer, we can include it into MSP as well. So after the project roadmap module, we will have for you a detailed work breakdown structure with an accurate estimate for each task. If we see that tablet adaptation takes, let's say, no more than a couple hours or 1-2 days, we might include it into our MSP version as well. It all depends on your budget and time limitations. Okay, next platform. Dropbox is a file synchronization service. It allows bringing all your files from all your different devices and put it into the cloud. That's why we will need to provide our users with native apps for each platform. Unfortunately, web-based software cannot introspect your local file system and back up your files. So Dropbox is a pretty big software idea, really. It requires not only a web-based site, but also separate native applications to cover all popular devices and operating systems. Ideally, we will need to build separate native apps for iPhone, iPad, all Android devices, Linux OS, Windows OS, and Macintosh. That's pretty a lot, right? I would avoid trying to build all these apps within MSP version. I would instead pick a different idea completely different idea, or create Dropbox with just 1 or 2 or maximum 3 native apps to cover most popular operating system at first. Building native apps for all popular platforms and OS operating systems will take a fortune. Now, let's see what we need for Uber. With Uber, it's an opposite situation. We only need a native mobile application for iPhone and Android devices, ideally native. Or we can try to start from hybrid applications to make it a bit simpler. Here we don't need tablet or desktop native apps, and we don't need any web-based application. Probably one landing marketing page would be enough to start, right? So based on platform criterion only, I will probably go for Uber instead of Dropbox. Dropbox idea would be much harder and more expensive to build. Criterion number 3. External dependencies. Most modern software products depend on external world. These external dependencies can help us get data from other websites. They can help us log in our users into our software cabinet with, for example, Google account. Also, external dependencies can help us integrate different software within our business. Actually, external dependencies can help us do a lot of different things. Your software might depend on external service to provide its core value, and without that service, it might not be usable at all. For example, you might have Facebook ad management software that helps agencies serve their marketing clients. So they don't need to use a built-in Facebook Ads Manager, and instead you provide your beta version. Let's imagine this situation. In this case, your software entirely depends on Facebook Ads API as a core service. This means as soon as Facebook closes its API or makes any changes to it, you need to adjust your software ID as well, right? We call such dependency a core dependency or vital dependency because your software cannot function without it. Or on the other side, you might want to let your users log in with external Google account as well as with password from your own users database. In that case, Google account sign up function is just a nice to have feature, nice to have dependency. It's not core dependency, it's not vital, right? If Google stops providing its API for you, you still will be able to let your users log in with their passwords from your own database. So it's just nice to have dependency. You can live without it. There are a lot of things you can do by talking to external world from within your software. And there we have 3 types of external dependencies. First one, external API. If you want to integrate your software with external services like MailChimp or Facebook or Salesforce, then you want to check whether this service provides API. API is Application Programming Interface. API means that you are using a legal protocol provided by that external service and you play within their rules. Yes, you still don't have full control of it, but you have some rules at the very least. Now you have second kind of external dependency, data scraping, also known as HTML scraping. This one is pretty common in software startups. This is all about populating your product database with data from other existing public websites by scraping information from their web pages. It's usually in HTML format, which our software needs to parse and then save into our own database. If you need such functionality in your product, then you know that this is an external dependency. Some products need this data scraping only at the very beginning, while others completely depend on it during their lifetime because they need to constantly upgrade their database with fresh information to provide core value to their users. Third one, we have kind of data storage dependency. Sometimes we want to get or share data with external database. It could be an online Google spreadsheet or local Microsoft Excel document or external SQL database server or maybe even LDA app, so-called LDA app users folder. In this case, we are talking about data storage dependency. Probably this one is the lowest risk kind of dependency from the above list. It is usually easier to integrate than the previous 2 types and often you have some control over it. Finally, if you want to integrate with any other kind of external component, service or website and you have no idea how it works or even whether you can do this integration at all, no problems. Again, here our team would step in and evaluate that external dependency for you in the technical oversight step. And ideally, our software idea doesn't have more than one or two external dependencies. Also, ideally, we would like to have our idea not to depend on any vital dependencies. We'll make sure we're not going with dependency which is too risky for us. Okay, here we have two more screenshots from our worksheet. This time we have a table with external dependencies. Here's how it works. Type column tells us which kind of dependency it is. You have two rows for each of the different types. I don't think you will need more than two dependency for each of these types. Dependency column over here. It says what the name of the dependency is. Ideally, you also want to add here some links for us with explanation of this dependency so we understand what it's all about a bit better. Then we have why you need it column. Here you add a bit longer 1 or 2 sentences explanation about how you are going to use this dependency in your software product. If you don't know what type of dependency you've got, just put it in this other type here. Other type row. We will check it out and help you evaluate this type. Okay, let's now get back to Dropbox and Uber. These days, Dropbox provides a digital signature function. And for this to do, Dropbox integrates with HelloSign product. It provides legal API, so Dropbox successfully uses it. So for Dropbox, we have HelloSign as external dependency API over here. Also, Dropbox needs to integrate with different file systems just to provide its file synchronization function. Microsoft Windows, mobile Android, Mac OS, Linux, they all have different file system formats. So Dropbox needs to work with all of them to support file synchronization feature. So we have it here as a data storage dependency for Dropbox. I named it multiple file systems. Now, what we have for Uber? For the MSP version, we'll probably go simple and not invent our own maps engine. Instead, we'll reuse Google Maps service and some available rating widget on our pages. So this way we can save some money and launch our initial software version a bit sooner. Also, let's imagine that Uber wanted to get driver signups a bit easier, so they decided not to ask drivers to enter their details. Instead, they built a solution which took all the driver details from Facebook or any other kind of social network, and for that they could use native Facebook API or try to scrape the data from their web pages. Actually, I would tell you honestly that it might be a bad idea to try to scrape data from Facebook, as they are protected pretty well. But just to give you some examples of what is possible here, I put it in this table for you. So after you watch this lesson, I will ask you to think about possible external dependencies and put all of them here in this worksheet table. If you miss anything, that is not a big problem. We will help you spot any possible dependencies. The next technical filtration criterion we call challenging features. For our initial software version, we want to find the right balance between value and technical complexity. Almost any software product idea will require building a bit of technically challenging functions. So, what do I mean under challenging function? A challenging function is any feature which is either big and or technically complex. Also, a challenging function is a feature which is hard to estimate and gives you tons of unexpected negative surprises during development. That's why features that depend on external services are usually challenging. If we are building our software for the first time and want to hit 3 or 6 months deadline for the MSP version, then we want to avoid having more than 1 or 2 or maximum 3 challenging features. If your software idea has more than 1 or 2, then we will highly recommend you simplify it. How we can do this, I will explain to you in the last filtration criteria in this lesson. On this slide, I prepared for you a list of technologies. Whenever your product feature requires any of these technologies, you should know you're about to build a pretty complicated feature. So you either go for it and deal with those risks during development, or you might try to find ways to simplify it. So what are these technologies? These are virtual or augmented reality. It could be machine learning and artificial intelligence. It could be big data and high load. Also Internet of Things and hardware integrations. Also complex visual functions and any other kind of software. Some of you might have a basic understanding of what it's all about, but for others, this can be kind of foreign language, right? So let me brief you on each of these technologies so that you can try and spot it within your software idea. Have you played a game where you need to find a Pokemon on the streets? Here on the left side image on this slide, you can see a screenshot from that game. If yes, then you probably know what is augmented reality. This is a technology where we put virtual objects on top of our real-world environment. This could be a Pokemon hiding from you under some car on the street or a virtual table in your real kitchen. You turn your phone camera on and augmented reality mobile app will add some virtual objects on top of what you can see within your phone camera. Also on the image at the bottom of this slide over here, you can see a screenshot from interior design software. We built a similar product to one of our previous clients. It allows designers to present their 3D interior design in a very realistic way. Customer, instead of sitting in front of monitor staring at 3D design program application, is going over his or her house and seeing through the phone camera how that house will look like when a new design will be applied. Also on this slide, you can see an image with a boy with those big black glasses. These are virtual reality glasses. It does not integrate in any way with the real world and only showing you a virtual world. So you probably use these glasses already, no? So, if your idea is about augmented reality, you need to know this is usually tricky to implement and takes more time than one could expect. There are a lot of libraries that programmers can reuse, but still every specific use case will require a lot of custom development. The next challenging technology is machine learning and artificial intelligence. This is software which can process data and learn from it. Without any further development, software will become smarter and smarter with more consumed information. Good examples of machine learning and artificial intelligence applied in practice are video, voice and image recognition, also language translation and processing, robots and software with artificial intelligence, actually any kind of software which can learn like a human without any help from developer. Some popular existing products on the market are like Google Voice Recognition, YouTube Video Subtitles Extraction. Also we have Tesla Car Autopilot. This is also a machine learning and artificial intelligence software with hardware. Programmers have a lot of ready-to-use libraries to build such artificial intelligence integrations. But similar to virtual reality, such integrations still require a lot of custom software development. Functions which involve machine learning and artificial intelligence are hard to predict in time and money. Pretty often, such features can be implemented only with some precision percentage. You can never expect 100% compliance with initial specifications. This is because of the nature of machine learning itself. So, for the MSP, I will highly recommend you not to include complex machine learning related functions. It is always a good idea to temporarily replace such component with more basic business logic, which would handle a few different cases but not learn on its own, okay? So you will also be able to invest more money and time and build a proper artificial intelligence solution when you start making revenue with your product, right? So, but if you are not limited with time or money and you are 100% sure you need proper machine learning applied in your specific case and it needs to be done as soon as possible, then this is the way to go, okay? And we will help you do some planning in this case as well. The next challenging category of task is related to big data and high load. Simply put, it's about consuming billions of rows of data, processing and analyzing it, and then converting it to the proper format. That's it. But the next question is, why do we need the data? Usually we need for machine learning and artificial intelligence components. Our software cannot learn anything without data or with small sets of data. To learn, it requires tons of adequately formatted data, okay? So in most cases, big data is a side effect of other functions like machine learning, artificial intelligence, some complex visual graphs building, and so on. That's why it will be hard to spot such a requirement for you on your own in your software idea. We will do it for you based on project specifications from the project roadmap module later in our masterclass. Okay, so, but what about high load? No, here we don't talk about high load from thousands of website visitors. when you release MSP version, probably you won't have more than 10, 20 or maybe 200 users. It will take time to grow and we'll have to worry about scaling a bit later, okay? High load in this case is a side effect of big data. Processing a lot of data will create a high load on our server and our software in general. So this naturally gets us to the next question, whether some of our features require big data handling and thus needs to sustain high load from handling that data. In any case, big data and high load we will also take on us. Our team will review your feature scope later in our masterclass and spot any related issues. Okay, I also got this infographic for you by Cisco company where they show how much data will be generated by smart city by 2020 on a daily basis. You can see that the smart city consists of smart hospitals, smart cars, intelligent buildings, connected planes, connected digital factories, weather sensors, public safety services, smart grid, and a lot of different things that are generating tons of data daily. I will not go deep into these stats, you can check it out in more details on yourself. I just wanted to share it with you so that you can see that any smart software requires tons of data to run, to generate and to consume. That's why a lot of modern software needs big data handling implemented. The next pretty challenging technology on our list is the so-called Internet of Things, IoT. It's about taking physical gadgets like a car, refrigerator, lights, microwave, cashier, TV or radio, some professional hardware tools, any home appliances, and connected them into a single network, into the internet. Internet of Things basically converts physical things into smart devices. The other term we have for businesses in regards to IoT is digital transformation. Okay, in the most simplistic form, IoT can be about, for example, setting up POS, point of sale, with standard hardware like check printer, barcode scanner and cashier. Also, IoT can be about smart homes and buildings. With it, you can monitor and manage your house remotely by adjusting the heating system, lights, your fridge, security system, TV or anything else. You can manage your house manually or it can be adjusted automatically with some software based on weather, conditions or any other criteria. And also we have cars with autopilots, which is a combination of physical device, a car, and smart technology on the other side, using some machine learning component and artificial intelligence. This is like an autopilot in Tesla car. You probably know this. So your software idea might require some of these integrations, IoT. And you need to know that if you want kind of POS, point of sale device, that is easy to integrate. These are not technically challenging features, okay? But if you need a smart home, smart devices integrations, that would be a completely different story, okay? If you have any of these in your requirements, then we will need to spend some extra time on our side investigating possible options and project how complex that would be. So if your software idea includes any of IoT related features, I will ask you to list it in our home worksheet as well. The last category in my list of challenging features is complex visual functions. I don't have any specific definition for you here. It can be any kind of visual functions which just takes a lot of time and experiments for developer to build. Any page within your software which allows your users to drag elements around, draw things online and do any highly interactive things is usually considered as a bit of challenging task, okay? Visual landing page builders and rich text editors tend to fall into this category. This is something like you can see on our slide in the left side, two screenshots. First one is wireframing tool, which allows you to drag and drop and build wireframes for software. And the other one is like online page builder, landing page builder. Also, some complex graphs might give developers an extra headache, especially if existing libraries do not cover that specific case. You can see an example of such complex graphs like I have here on the slide on the right side, like this complex graphs section. Also, at the bottom right side, you can see a rock with some roads on it over here. It is a prototype of Roads Builder we created for one of our clients. It allows staff members to upload photos with cracks and draw roads on it. This is not a super challenging task, but it took us a couple of days to build and then adjust it a few more times. So you need to know that complex visual elements and widget might have some unexpected issues for developers, and thus we usually put extra reserved time for its implementation. Whenever you suspect that you need some unique visual elements built, then you need to put it into challenging tasks list for us, so that we can research it and either tell you that it will be easy to build by reusing existing tools, or maybe it will be a bit of kind of challenging task and we need to simplify it somehow. Okay. I quickly tried to explain to you a few most challenging technologies and features so that you can now try to spot them within your software idea. Now let's get back to our Dropbox and Uber examples as usually and try to find challenging tasks for each of them. Here we have two tables, left side Dropbox, right side Uber. So let's start from Dropbox. For Dropbox, we need to synchronize files between different devices and different types of file systems. Also, we want to keep file syncing after interruption as well as do it with a poor internet connection, right? All this sounds like a pretty challenging task for the programmer, so I would put it here as effective handling of big files in big data and high load row. And also the other side of this task, which is about handling poor internet connection, I would put into other category and name it take network status into account. Just like that. Also, these days Dropbox provides online documents editing. It provides a set of rich widgets like timeline, import of external files, to-do list, and many more. To develop such a sophisticated visual online document editor, it will take not less than a few weeks for developer just to develop a quick prototype. So I will also need to put it into this table for us. Now, what we've got for Uber. Here I would highlight complex visual functions, which is a map and dynamic display of taxi cars on it. So we have this map in the complex visual functions category. Also, as you remember, Uber needs to find an optimal route, calculate the distance, and project a market price at any given time. All this logic cannot be done perfectly. We will have to brainstorm it multiple times, develop a few different prototypes, and then continuously improve it, right? All these tasks are challenging and not just one-time features, so we also need to keep track of it. Some of these tasks might require machine learning technology, but we don't know it, so I will just put it all into other category for now. Road building, distance calculation, and price calculation, other category for our future. Okay, as a homework, you will have to enter your challenging task into this table. And if you are not sure which category to assign to this or another task, just put it into the other row like I put it here. We will review it in more details during the technical oversight step and assign it a proper category. Also, it might happen that we'll find a way to remove this feature from this table just by making it in a bit more simple way. Okay guys, we've got to the last fifth technical filtration criterion. Doable in iterations. In the previous 4 steps, we've been identifying challenging features. We tried to list top 1 to 3 vital features. Then we identified which platforms we need to support. Then we work on external dependencies and some challenging technologies. Also, we reviewed what are challenging visual functions. Now, in this 5th step, we want to go over all this list of challenging features and see how we can simplify them a bit. When simplifying, it's crucial to keep the balance between simplification and still solving a real problem for our users, right? The more we simplify, the easier it will be for programmer to build an MSP version for us. So, how can we simplify? First of all, let's see what of these challenging tasks we can ignore in the initial version. Can we do it in some other way? Maybe doing this manually in the beginning or reusing some existing service or paying others people to do this for us. For example, one of our clients who provided on-demand financial solvency validation did all his job with the help of assistants. Yes, manually. In the beginning, these guys had no dedicated software to serve their clients and just used email and phone to do all client support. Only after they started making money with it, they asked us to develop a dedicated client service platform which allowed them to save a lot of time. This is an excellent example of how you can save money on a feature and do it manually for a short period. Okay, next way to optimize challenging feature is to think about how can we do it partially and do the second part later after the initial release. Let me give you another quick example so that you understand what I mean here. When we with Ethan released our Opasta Saas service, which is Facebook Messenger automation platform, and when we just released it for the first time, we didn't have any finished payment integration. We just integrated Stripe service to charge our clients, but we haven't put any automation between Stripe and our Opasta users cabinet. So the first couple of weeks or even up to 2 months, I don't remember exactly now, we had to do it manually. Every time we had a new purchase on our marketing website, we got a new notification from Stripe service about that payment. Then we went to our Opasta admin panel, created new user account manually and shared access details with our users over email. Yes, it was all done manually every time. And that was fine. Initially, we didn't have a lot of new signups daily, so we decided to add this automation a bit later. So you can think about your list of features the same way and decide if you need it all for the first version or maybe you can postpone some of them. If yes, and you really cannot postpone it or ignore it, then you need to think about how you can simplify it. Can you reuse existing software or service so you don't need to develop it yourself? Is that existing software cheaper than you would spend developing it with your team? Now, you might ask me, Vitaly, in the first part of this slide you suggested to avoid external dependencies, but now you are suggesting to look for external solutions instead of developing your own. So what I need to do at the end? And what I can tell you here is that there is no single proper answer to this question, unfortunately. It all depends on specific feature and your specific context. I would just recommend you picking that option which is cheaper, less risky, and can be integrated sooner than later, obviously. And for this, we will do for you a detailed work breakdown structure after the project roadmap module. This way, you will see a clear picture of how much time and money you will need to spend on a specific task, and then, with our help, you can decide which option to pick. Develop your own solution or maybe reuse an existing external service. So on this slide, you have two examples of the fifth step applied on practice. On simplification and breaking down your challenging features into multiple phases. We have 3 sections here for each of these software products. Ignore section, external dependencies section, and simplify section. For Uber, if you are going to start with B2C segment, selling to consumers and not to businesses yet, then we definitely can avoid Teams management feature for now. Also, we don't need online files editor for the MSP, right? We can start selling our Dropbox without it, as our core value is file synchronization across multiple devices and not files editing, right? As for external dependencies, we don't need a digital signature in our MSP version. Actually, it seems like I forgot to put this one on our slide here in the external dependency table, but you need to know that we would like to remove this dependency from our list, so we need to put it here on this external dependencies table. Okay, and regarding simplification, I will start only from Apple devices for the MSP version and expand to Windows and Linux a bit later. Apple users would be more than enough for our initial idea validation. Also, I would avoid any complex implementation of online user cabinet. We don't need any file history tracking and permission sharing for now. Just sharing by unique link would be enough, I think. Now, what can we simplify for Uber MSP version on the right side here? We don't need dispute management in this MSP version, obviously. So I just put it here, dispute management in the ignore section. We will ask our support team to handle it via phone channel. For this, we'll just put, let's say, contact by phone button within our mobile application UI so that users can use it and just request us to phone them back. Also, we don't need to build our own driver rating widget. Let's reuse the existing one. So I put this one like driver rating feature into simplify section. So we just have it here. Use external service instead of building our own rating engine in the beginning. We have tons of page review and rating services. Later we can always get back to this question and build our own rating widget if needed. Okay, next one, map route drawing. feature. So for the MSP version, it will be a lot of work to develop our own map engine. So we will reuse existing Google Maps and its API to draw objects on it. Yes, Google Maps is not an ideal solution and with a lot of minor glitches, but for the MSP and business validation, I think it will be more than enough. Okay, we went over all 5 filtration criteria for software ideas. But before you jump straight into your homework, I want to give you one more final set of insights. After you do your homework, you will end up with one or more filtration worksheets. And here on this slide, we have some guidelines on how do we decide whether a software idea is good or bad, whether it works as it is or maybe we need to adjust it a bit. Note, you are not here to make a final decision on the technical side. We will do it for you, but I'm giving you these simple guidelines so that you understand how we developers analyze home worksheets results. So, we want to find the right balance of technical challenges so that our software is not too problematic for developers to build and not too easy for competitors to copy. Okay? On one side, we want to build and launch the MSP version within 3 or maximum 6 months. But on the other side, those old ages when a super primitive piece of software can make good money are gone, unfortunately. These days, almost any software product is solving complex technical challenges. So, when we check your homework sheet, we will judge your idea on both sides. Also, if you are the first timer with software products, then I will recommend you avoid software idea which have so-called vital external dependency. If you don't remember what is vital external dependency, please go back in this lesson to external dependencies slide and please learn it. Having a software idea with a vital external dependency is more expensive to support and involve a lot more risks overall. So I will not recommend you to do this if you are first timer. Finally, after the project roadmap module, we will have enough data to prepare a work breakdown structure with estimated hours for each task. This way, we'll be able to do another implementation call with you and adjust our idea based on the amount of time and money involved in this or another task. Yes, we will be able to simplify your idea before you start any development. Okay, seems like I covered everything I wanted for this lesson. It was not short. It probably consisted of a lot of new things for you and you might be overwhelmed now, and that is okay. So take your time, review this lesson a few more times if you need to, and start working on your homework. On this lesson page, you will find a link to technical filtration worksheet. You need to copy it over for each software idea you have and fill it with related challenges and top features. My biggest request here to you is that you spend enough time and try to research external services and tools which are related to your specific business domain. Something that you can find easier than we can do for you, as you are probably an expert in your niche. So please take your time, put all these things into our worksheet. The more information and links you share with us, the better we'll do our technical oversight step. Okay? If you don't have an answer to any of these questions in our worksheet, no problems, just skip it for now. If you have a feature or external dependency, but you are not sure which category it belongs to, then just put it into the other category. You will also find 2 examples of technical filtration worksheet for 2 different software products, which is Dropbox and Uber. We already reviewed them in detail during this lesson, but you can also find it here for your future reference. Okay guys, that is all from me regarding software technical filtration. I'm super excited about checking your worksheets and seeing what challenges we might have within your specific software. Challenges are not a bad thing. Challenge means our software idea is going to solve real, painful and meaningful problems for our customers. Challenges are great things as long as handled with reasonable risk management approach, and this is where we'll cover your back, no worries. And if you have any questions regarding your home assignment, share your worksheets with us and leave us a question via support. We will review it in our weekly QA call.